Thank you guys for being here today. We'll call this meeting to order. And I guess we'll go to number 2, sewer backflow preventer policy. Just taking over this one, Randy.
I had emailed you a policy in regards to the sewer backflow preventer. We have traditionally installed backflow preventers at the request of homeowners if we have had, I guess, kind of a documented problem. Although the property owner would have previously had to purchase the backflow preventer. They typically run for a 4-inch. Right now, the price we have for them is $58.13. For a 6-inch backflow preventer, it's $197.42. If they would purchase the backflow preventer, then we would install it. Is basically what we've currently been doing.
What was the charge again? I'm sorry, Randy.
For a 4-inch, it's $58.13, and for a 6-inch, it's $197.42. That obviously depends on the size of their lateral. We've done it, like I say, at the request of the property owner previously, although they've had to pay for the backflow itself. We typically, we have paid for the installation, which typically runs between $500 and $1,000, depending on typically the depth of the lateral. Had a request from one of the property owners that had a recent backup in the Cameo Court area that we bought before you for a request for a backflow preventer. And they, I guess, didn't want to pay the backflow assembly, which, like I say, would be either $58 or $197. And I think it's not unreasonable to ask the town to pay that, considering that the backflow is, if we could document that it's because of a rain event, and I think it's reasonable for the town to pay.
Hey, Randy, one thing, in the past, what we did is they purchased the device and they paid time and materials to install it. So what Mr. Bush has asked for is the town to pay for it all. And Mr. Koki, is that how you say his last name? His neighbor, he's interested in one as well.
One second really quick. So right now you're asking us to pay for the equipment, which...
We're asking basically to pay for everything associated with the install. It would be in a private line. So, it's a private sewer lateral that we'd be installing. Although, like I say, we have previously, under prior policies, been installing them with the exception of them paying for the materials, basically.
And this is not a...
So in a roundabout way, this will save us money from insurance claims and everything else. So it's
not 100% fail-safe, and we try to, I guess, detail that in the policy. But it certainly would generally help prevent backflows. Sometimes they'll collapse backwards, and that can still happen.
That's a rare case.
On most of the residents that we've installed them, we haven't had an issue. When we have got called back, it's where they've used water. Because once it closes, it won't let water out either. So then once they got a general understanding of that.
They're causing their own backup.
They have to understand that when
it's surcharging.
It's surcharging, and it will not open up back up until the water in the line recedes and allows it.
So
then they can start using water in their house.
They probably don't want to do laundry during a big rain event.
Yeah.
How many requests do we normally get a year?
1 or 2 a year.
What is it? And then how many actually backflows do we actually have to deal with?
That depends on the weather and then what area of town.
Yeah, so a typical year, for example, last year, have a number?
That we installed?
No, that you had a problem with.
Due to the storm weather?
Mm-hmm.
Not right off the top of my head, to be honest with you, I don't.
But we dealt with insurance claims in our last meeting like this because of that issue of backflow.
And that would have prevented it,
Hopefully it would. Hopefully it would reduce insurance claims.
I'm okay with doing something. Is this something we need to bring out to town council?
I think we can do it as a kind of administrative policy, committee policy. I think it's
I concur with doing it. So
I guess one of the other questions is, because part of that will be how much of our people will have to go inside this home to install this? Like, is there,
Probably 2 people.
It's not installed inside the home. We install it right directly behind our cleanout. And once we install it, we don't accept responsibility for the maintenance of it either. So they have to understand that too.
so when you talk about maintenance, can you kind of walk me through what that means?
If something were to get stuck in it and it weren't closing, it would be up to them to excavate it back up, clean it out, and put it back together.
Toilet paper or grease or whatever.
Whatever it may be, because there is occasion, sometimes something will get hung right there on
Yeah,
the wall.
I think wipes are a normal.
No, but they're very reliable, because we use them in an apartment complex.
And do you have, is there anything that I imagine you have talked to the insurance company about this, our insurance company?
Yes, they actually started the, I guess, no-fault insurance for us last year, and they did it as a free add-on to the insurance. An effort to try to keep us as a customer.
And if we do this, for people, you know, they will probably, is this something that they like seeing us doing,
I'm
or?
sure they would be glad because it would reduce their claims potentially.
Okay.
They have, I think, they probably factor that into their bids going forward, but I don't think it's a huge amount in our insurance.
I'm all fine with this.
And I don't think our insurance would drop because we have this policy really.
I think this is something that, what about we do this for a year and see how it goes, and then if we get, are you ever concerned that we'll have like a huge amount of people just requesting this? Is this,
Can't say we've ever had a huge amount,
but once you start giving it for free, I guess my question
You've
is,
gotta have a documented.
would you have a whole bunch of people? Because I like that. I like the fact that the town will be paying for all my
You've
projects.
gotta have 2 documented sewer backups because of storm events.
Right.
Yeah, it can't come because of a blockage on their line
You
or
have to
something
have a
like that.
history of a problem.
Yeah.
But I think we have to put that in the policy.
It
somewhere.
is.
Yeah,
It is.
the way it's written, it says that we document that
Is that like 1 time, 2 times, or does it really matter?
twice.
Yeah, twice.
Residents must have at least 2 town-documented sewer backups related to high-volume rain events which resulted in material property damages determined by the town staff and their sole discretion. Backups due to blockages, private line maintenance, or any other cause will not be eligible. So it's
You're really right. Okay. I think I'm good with it. Yeah. I guess if we have a problem in the future, we can always.
we can readdress it, but for now,
It's not a huge expense, probably $1,000 roughly per installation. We maybe do 1 or 2 a year.
And I guess the other question is, this will be always Public Works doing it, we don't, because of the shortage in people that we have right now.
We talked about that. To be honest, a lot of localities do have a policy like that, and they typically have a plumber install it and do reimbursement. But the fact that we do so few, and the fact that I think we can do it cheaper than a plumber would do it, I think Public Works felt they were fine.
Plumbers are expensive right now.
Yeah. Everything's expensive right now.
My goodness.
Yep.
All right, so is there anything else that you want to talk about this one, or are we all good?
You're good with policy, we'll institute it.
do it.
Okay, so we're moving on to College Street stormwater status.
So on, June 14th, engineering brought to council the, professional, consulting agreement for the professional design services for College Street. So, we got all that, executed, council approved it. So we've now entered into the design phase of College Street, and the first thing we're kicking off is they've already been out and looked, it's my understanding, they've been out, they've evaluated the area to see if there were any kind of wetland impacts. We didn't think there would be, but they've gone out and they've now, I was out there this morning and I saw one of their, survey trucks out there. So they have started surveying for the project. Surveying's supposed to be completed by the end of August. And right now, the 30% design is supposed to be completed by the end of October. So as you recall, there's a hard stop at 30%, until we can get all the easements in place for the infrastructure. So I create a quick map here to show you the properties in blue have signed that preliminary agreement to donate easements or negotiate for the pond location. So there's 22 properties that we have some semblance of an agreement with, and there are 5 properties that have not signed the agreement. And it's my understanding those properties are waiting for more information. They're having a hard time understanding what we're going to do. So there's a public meeting component to this project. And what we would like to do is get a little further down the road on the surveying, have the consultant create some exhibits, and then staff will go re-engage these folks with a visual and more information so we can show them what it's actually going to look like in the backyard.
I think they're probably more looking for stakes in the ground,
The-
where it would be.
Right, where is it? How is this
I
going
won't
to
do
work
the
with
same
my
thing.
property? Yeah, no, exactly, it's a completely legitimate request for them to ask for
Now,
more
can I ask
information.
you something? When we had this public meeting, can we actually have it in a place where we're able to have all these people in there
Mhm.
if they want to?
Yeah,
I would
fine.
also like to be a part of that meeting.
Absolutely, it would be
I
a,
don't know, Tim, you probably want to as well, right?
Yes, because we're the ones they're gonna contact.
And I don't think that, I think one of the things too is, sometimes people, like you're saying, they want to have more information. And I think the survey people and everything are doing this at the right time because of all these storms going on right now. So I'm more than sure they'll find a lot of wetland this week.
well, and, also, it takes time for the consultant to, we just signed the contract in June. It takes them a while to get mobilized and get it scheduled to be out there to perform the work. But like I said, right now the schedule is survey done by end of August and 30% by end of October.
This is what I would like from you guys, if that's a possibility. Any expenses related to College Street, I would like to be able to have a file or something that we can go back to. So we can show these homeowners and say, hey, we are here with you. We are listening to you. This is what the town of Christiansburg is paying for everything that's getting done. So there is a lot of, open discussion with them as far as we are willing to do this for you instead of, oh, we are taking your land to do whatever we want to do. It's not, obviously, that's not what we're doing, but we definitely want to send a good message to them to say,
Right.
hey, we are committed to this.
Well, this is definitely a project that will improve their properties. It is not a detractor from their property, it's an improvement above and beyond what's there. I mean,
But I
yeah.
think it's important to have a document
We
showing
keep
to them.
all of the files, we keep all of the pay applications for design services, for the.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's all there.
But if we can have that as part of the PowerPoint later on, when we have that
Well,
discussion
yeah,
with them.
and as you recall, when we met several months ago, we had what we thought the costs were gonna be,
Absolutely.
and, it's full, can be completely out there, yeah.
I like that.
I'm pleased with
I
where you're
am
at.
so pleased that you guys are doing this. This means a lot to me as a citizen of Christiansburg and as a town council person even more.
So, but like I said, we do have 5 folks that are still needing some more information, so,
Is there any way that you can send me and send us maybe, I want that information, can you send me that?
I don't,
Yeah, we can
see why not.
Yeah.
I have had a really good relationship with all those people over there in the past. Maybe something that we can even all go together or whatever and say, hey, because sometimes it's good to have someone that, doesn't have to be a town employee.
Well, we have in the contract, services through AMT, for right-of-way and easement acquisition. So we have a third party, that's part of the scope of this, of the work for the project, is property acquisition assistance.
How many people do you go,
that will come to your house and say, hey, I'm doing a survey in your house, but, you know, like I'm working
Oh,
for
the
you.
survey crew?
No, I'm just saying that I am a person that doesn't trust anybody,
They're
but.
all aware that surveyors will be in their area, and we actually have permission.
No, I'm not saying that they don't, you know what I mean, that they don't know that they're there. I'm just saying that they trust them 100% to make a decision to allow them to, you know, sign a document while they're there.
All the property owners have agreed to survey work.
Yeah,
But not everybody has signed it.
but not everybody. Well, and I don't want to confuse the situation. What they're signing is a more, it's a commitment that they will donate the easement. It's not the actual easements yet, but it is a document that is recorded at the courthouse, and it's their commitment that, yes, they will participate. So, easements are yet to come.
Sounds good. Yeah, but if you can send us a map and everything. Is that anything else?
No, not from me.
Update on garbage collection and curbside recycling program.
Asked Jim to prepare basically a spreadsheet of, what our fees have been in regards to expenditures and revenues for garbage.
The bottom line down there, totals, 88.9%, so we only used 88.9% of, what we budgeted last year.
Majority of that's because of vacancies, salaries.
Well, I seen that you only used 59% basically of the salary, and then 59% of overtime was used, which is actually, we have, the two numbers are, you know, they speak for themselves, but still, all in all, you know, fringe expenses are way down, and then small tools and equipment, not that $1,500, you know, it's another $800 or $750, but still.
These numbers include any finance charges, like, say, Debbie's time with billing or well,
It should include it all, Randy. That was the final budget report, for '22. So it includes everyone's participation in finance, the postage if they're still mailing, everything comes out of that budget.
I'm amazed to see the material costs for the spring and the fall cleanup and monthly brush collection are actually included.
Yes, all of those tonnages go against line item. So it does impact it somewhat, and it varies from year to year based on the volume that we get. And then also Merciful has increased our rates.
Can you show it to me, where is it at?
What are, the material?
The item, where
It's
is
right
the
here.
expense?
Right. Back to what I was saying.
Commercial expense and something else, we were
So
talking
is
about.
American Service,
So
The
Merciful,
materials is right above it.
is it materials, is that what you're
Yes.
calling the item? That's what you're calling, oh, okay.
the Merciful fees went up last year, and they're increasing by $1 a ton this year too. We're trying to forecast. We forecasted, Val and I worked together and try to put that increase, and not knowing the volume of spring and fall, it's kind of like sometimes a moving target. So those budgets have been increased, those line items.
What is the shortage on employees that you have for this type of job that you have?
So, on the, I think it's the other tab, Randy. It breaks it down on the other sheet that I gave you.
Yeah.
I did not say that, I don't think I said that.
So in fully staffed, we have, 7 full-time employees. Right now, I have 2 in that department, which is one's the supervisor and one's one of the drivers. And most of these have been vacant for quite some time.
These are just the garbage truck driver.
Well, it's the driver, and it's also the cart, the delivering and cleaning and, picking up the carts and taking care of the maintenance on them.
We still have one that's not the one-armed bandit as well that we have to run.
Yes, on,
Some small streets, nearer streets,
On Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, we still run a rear loader that collects in, some areas like Randy's speaking about, like in the alleys and tight areas. They collect down here, and then they pick up our facilities. When we went away from commercial, we kept our dumpsters at our facilities, and we collect those.
So do you use, temp people from Express Services or somewhere?
Well, that's another challenge. I went down that road in like, end of April and started getting a lot of temps, and then they kinda faded out too. It's kinda hit or miss who shows up in the morning, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
In solid waste, the way we're currently going it right now is we've cross-trained, 8 drivers from other divisions, and we pull from all the other divisions. So where they're short-staffed, it's putting an impact on them, like from the utilities division or the street division, because solid waste has to run every day.
Right.
So we run into a problem 2 weeks ago with that run every day thought. I had 3 of the 4 trucks go down. So we actually had to reach out. We use, GFL to collect our curbside recycling. We've been under contract with them. You'll see that in that document too since 2018.
Yeah.
And they've done really well. We reached out to them. They were gracious enough to be able to free up one of their trucks and give me a really good hourly rate to help us collect. The only other alternative is to put 4 guys in the street, throwing it in a loader bucket and putting it in the back of a dump truck.
Yeah, no.
So, it's getting more and more difficult. The information I gave you on the, second page, it shows our tonnages since we started Curbside. And it'll tell you the percentage of increase or decrease between the years.
Basically, we doubled off when we went to curbside.
Yeah, right out of the gate, we really,
And we reduced our solid waste tonnage, and we doubled our recycling.
yeah.
Pays landfill tipping fees, and we get paid a little bit for the recycling, so.
Yeah.
But you still still get charged a higher amount if the recycling is not fully.
If it's
contaminated, it's rejected.
It's rejected, and it
How
goes
much
to.
of that do we get?
We have 0 now. When we closed Cambria and, what's
The recycling collection stations.
The
are
2
the
stations.
culprit behind it.
Yeah, Cambria was probably the greatest culprit behind it, because you could go by there and people were throwing couches and all kinds of stuff in them.
Mhm.
But once we closed those, our rejection rate went to 0.
That's fine.
So we've maintained pretty good.
Well, then
What
our
was the
recycling
savings
doubled,
on
right?
that?
It didn't, I think the guy told us it practically doubled,
Yes,
our,
it did double.
our legitimate recycling doubled.
What was the savings of actually not having things?
I don't have that for you right off.
I have a question for you. So the 361,000 goes back into the budget, right? Here.
That's your revenue that you made off of that to
I
recover.
know, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, it goes back,
After you work
it
your
goes
tail
into the
off
general
and
fund.
everybody else. And so, the 361,000, now, to fill in every position, 5 additional positions for this, that will pretty much, summed up, pretty much be kind of equal to that amount, I imagine. Well, actually less, but you really will not be making money if you had all those positions filled in right now.
You would still show a revenue, it just,
wouldn't be as high.
it wouldn't be as high.
But we're not doing this as a revenue thing, we're doing this as a service.
Right, so we're not in it to make money.
Yeah.
We're in it to cover our costs and provide
Keep
service.
in mind too, though, we are gonna have to purchase new trucks eventually and things like that.
Yeah, that's a whole another item I'd like to discuss with y'all, today.
Well, I am really interested in hearing about that too, because I know with the shortage of other vehicles, mostly maintenance vehicles, I want to hear that from you.
Next year is when our contract with GFI, it was originally with Waste Industries, but they were purchased by GFI. Our contract runs out end of June next year. And we would, I guess, want to entertain the possibility of contracting out garbage service. And there's some, I guess, dangers that go with that to some degree. If you get rid of your trucks, you might kind of be stuck. But if you've got an agreement with them in place for a certain rate, I think and we've actually been pretty satisfied with the service we've gotten from. There are, I think, enough providers that it would be competitive. I don't think you want to get into a situation where you're dealing with a monopoly. I think there are enough providers in the area that, I think last time we received 3 or 4 bids, so.
Yeah, I think so.
I would very much entertain the potential of contracting out garbage pickup instead of us trying to manage it ourselves. Because I'm looking right here scroll down the age of the trucks. You've got 3 that are over 10 years old, which automatically means as much use as those things get, that they've got to be humping on dog legs to even get around. So the expense associated with us replacing at least, well, and the other 2 next year, so you've got 5.
Those vehicles.
It's right here. You got 5 trucks that are gonna be 10 years or older, and you go, okay, it's only got 90,000 miles, that's a lot of miles on one of them.
Well, it's a lot of parts and arms, and yeah.
And all the mechanical parts and the workings of them, and I'm sure those trucks only cost $60,000-$70,000, but.
Yeah.
Is that a price?
Had a 3 or 4 in front of that one. To be honest.
How much are they?
We got quoted one last year for budget, it was $382,000.
This
We
year
paid
it's
310. Yeah, probably. We paid $365,000 when we bought the 2 crane carriers each.
And we're gonna need at least 3,
3?
at least.
So,
How
I'm
much
looking at.
For a little history with that, Councilman Showalter, about every 2 years, isn't it, Randy, he asks, because he's always been interested, and we run the numbers and so forth, and I was not a big advocate, I'll be honest with you, of going privatized. The reason being because I was worried about sacrificing customer service. And I had a really good crew then, it pretty much run itself, they took pride in it, and they knew their customers and everything. But since then, we're getting to a point now with the age of equipment, having that discussion every few years, we've held off on replacing the trucks, the really older ones. When we went to automated, it helped save them because they weren't on the road every day. And so it prolonged their life a little bit. But we're at that point now between staffing and the age of the vehicles and the maintenance cost of them that I support that. And I believe that too to be my interaction with our Curbside contractor has proven to be really positive for me. Because I heard all the horror stories from other agencies. Once you sell them, they've got you, they're gonna run the cost up on you because you're not gonna reinvest in your capital. It's always gonna be a concern, but I think with our GFL contract with Curbside, we've controlled that rate increase. I think they're pretty much scared to death of Val. But we work with them each renewal, and we've controlled that, and their customer service has been really well. So it's kind of proven me and put me at rest with some of that. But the bottom line is that we're in a bind right now with the vacancies, not only with that, but with the age of the equipment. So we need to start looking towards possibly going out with a RFP and going under one contract for both.
So how soon do we wanna pursue this?
Well, we're under contract for the recycling until end of June next year, and we were thinking probably try to bid it at the same time.
Yeah, I think we'd get a better pricing if we do both services at once. And plus, it'll probably take us quite some time to get the RFP worked out, get it out for 30 or 40 days.
Customer service addresses and things like that.
Yeah, there's a whole lot of information that goes on.
I realize that, but you also know that getting stuff through the council chamber in one sitting is not that easy.
Mhm.
So I don't wanna.
Yeah, we'll come to you probably sometime in the spring.
Okay, all right.
Here is my thing
Actually,
with this.
maybe early.
Come earlier so we know what's
late
coming.
winter, Actually.
Do we have the chances of losing? So right now, there are companies that will pick up your trash if you live in the county, even if you live in the town limits, for $25 a month. That obviously doesn't have recycle. You can put everything in there and they don't give us about anything. Now, if we were to go to these other services, do you think that the prices of our trash pickup will even go up? And now, where is the 361? If he's going back to the budget, why didn't you put another truck in our budget this year to be able to be replaced at least, so we'll have at least one truck every 2 to 4 years, considering the fact that we did make money?
Because every time I placed the truck in there, council was asking me why, and they wanted to run the numbers, which we've always showed a revenue, but they want to reassess it in 2 years. So the last vehicle I got replaced through solid waste was a pickup, and I probably received, I don't know, 30 questions on why.
We do have a staff person assigned to Public Works to work with the contractor,
Mm-hmm.
also to kind of supervise around the collection.
So we've held off on that based on the dollar amount budget.
That is coming up for contract again next year, so.
Mm-hmm.
Well, here's the thing, like I see, and I'm gonna give you a compliment. When I look at the budget, the town budget, I see you are doing the best that you can with everything you got, and you cut everything down to whatever you can to make it happen. You know, and I think you're doing a great service to the town, and I think the job that you guys do is great. These are things that, for me, are necessities, and to me, it would be important for me to see, like, you always heard this from me. I want to make sure that you guys are full staff. I want to make sure that you guys have the equipment that you need to run things.
Mm-hmm.
And this, to me, is a big concern. Like, I know that maybe the changes have to be somewhere else as far as getting more employees, but this all, to me, ties up into everything. It's a service that we're doing to the community. And I really have enjoyed using you guys as the trash pickup people, because I know that you guys, I feel like you guys are taking care of me, you know, in some way. I'm paying for those services, but I feel like, to me, it's nice to have the logo of the town of Christians for those trash cans, and know that you guys are picking up my trash. Maybe for some other people, it may make sense to have a different company in there, but it's just familiar, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And so, what I'm saying is that, is there any way that we can even look at this in town council and think about, you know, obviously we're going to the private sector. Those are things to me that I understand where we're at today within not finding employees, but I also know that when you come to town hall, you know that the town of Christiansburg is providing those services. Water, sewer, trash.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's part of, like, what you live in the town. I don't know. I kind of would like to see those trucks replaced, like even the things with the sewer plant. Those are concerns for me. Like, you guys should not be understaffed in those departments.
I would love not to be understaffed, to be honest. We're doing everything we can with the HR department to try to recruit. But
Is there more money that you need? What do you need from us?
I don't know that you can keep, I mean, you could throw money at a problem, but I don't think it's gonna resolve it. I don't know if it's just the mindset of the workforce today too.
Well, and historically, those types of positions are hard to fill anyway, even
Mhm.
before COVID and all of that. You know, speaking from experience in other places, sometimes your pool of applicants is just small. And the availability of those, to fill those positions
You've got
may not be
a
there.
lot of competition from the
Yeah,
private sector,
exactly.
places like Virginia Tech.
Mhm.
And a lot of people, like the private sector, typically does pay more. You don't get the benefits that you get working for the town, but if you're younger, you don't necessarily care about health.
And
health
that's what my
insurance.
point is.
You're-
I do think
you're
that
about
money makes a
insurance.
difference, because they are getting employees. I mean, they got people working for them. So if it is the money, I wanna see it on the budget. I don't wanna see you cutting the numbers, and that's not, don't take it as a bad thing.
Oh,
When
I don't cut any money away from my salary. I can assure you that. I ask for more
No,
than.
for the work that you do. I mean, like, when I look at the machines and everything, when I go to these plants and everything, when I see your facility, I mean, I want you to have the equipment that you need, the things that you need to make your life and your employees' lives better. That's why I was going for, you know, even the wash basin or whatever. What is it gonna take to make our employees happier? Is it gonna be a larger area to go and have lunch with the guys? Is it gonna be, what is it? They need more time together, maybe we have to go a 3-day work weeks instead of 5 or 4. I mean, I think that maybe you'll recruit more people if you have people working 3 days a week, 12 hours a day. I don't know, maybe looking into the possibility of doing that. I mean, other companies are. Volvo, and I have a lot of my friends that are doing a lot of work for large corporations right now, and most of them don't work on Fridays. Or most of them, they have another day off on the week. So maybe looking into those possibilities, that working around that and see, well, you know what, we do a lot of the trash pickups on Tuesdays, or Wednesdays, and some other days. So, well, maybe we'll have these people off on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and then we'll have them
So,
working
Bottom line is,
Tuesday and Wednesday.
you're not in favor of looking at the potential for privatizing?
I think not at the moment.
I think so. So you give us the numbers for both. What's it gonna cost us to get, trucks up to staff? What's that dollar amount versus what is it gonna, what it will cost us to privatize? Because I'm not,
Because you're not replacing the trucks every year. And so if you were to replace, at least to start with 1 truck this year or next year, I think even doing an amendment to the budget, I mean, we do that stuff all the
I
time.
do think next year would be the time we would look at the truck purchase if we weren't going to be pursuing the.
Yeah, we would definitely have to.
We would have to. We sort of held off, to be honest, on purpose, because we knew we were gonna, the potential of bidding out with the recycling next year.
As far as the bidding schedule, we probably would wanna do that, as early as possible, so we do have a number that can plug into the budget.
Probably late winter.
Yeah. Right.
What do you think the charges will be a month if we go into the private sector? Do you have any rough estimate from other localities that have done it that way?
Blacksburg, I can probably get rates from them. We got rates from them back when we were looking at it 4 years ago.
Yeah, I can't remember what they were when we looked at it back then. We can, Blacksburg, contracts everything,
Yes.
so we could look at their rates.
That would be really good numbers to have.
Yeah.
That would be really, really good. And then maybe if we don't have the Department of, cleaning or whatever, will you still do the trash, the brush collection and the spring and the fall collection?
Oh, yeah.
That's something.
That's gonna be here for as long as you guys want it.
and that's a different set of trucks. It's not the,
Yeah, it is.
It's
No,
not
I
the
know,
garbage
but I
truck
just
stuff.
wanna make sure that we
Yeah,
are
oh, yeah.
still doing those services.
yeah.
And that will give you what? Employees too? Which is not many.
Well, if I can get them all, I can put them all back I can put them in another division.
That's right.
I don't wanna plan on losing any employees either. That's what we've always discussed in the past too. I don't wanna reduce
That's my
them.
biggest concern too with you guys. You guys don't have any policy like the police officers do about the 20-year thing or whatever, because we're gonna have like 8 retirees next year.
Oh, you mean the emergency
They're-
services retirement?
Public Works is under standard VRS.
It's different.
And there's other things to think about. I know when I managed solid waste in Florida, solid waste group had the largest workers' comp rate of any of the employees that we had. And so I don't know how it operates here if you've got a lot of workers' comp.
That's why we went to automated.
Come out of
We
this,
did
yeah.
reduce-
Yeah, we reduced that drastically when we went to
And,
automated.
and like Jim said, any employees would be, they would have a position in other divisions in Public Works. So you would, there's the fiscal side to this as well. So, and that would be part of the evaluation of, how the numbers would work out.
What was the savings to the town once we went from, picking up the trash, on those ugly trash cans to the nice trash cans?
Savings,
Was there any savings as
as workman's comp, it reduced those claims, which created a savings.
And we got some people off the backs of the trucks.
Yeah.
Because,
Yeah, it reduced,
we didn't lay anybody off, we.
no.
Transferred people.
Yeah, we actually, that's how the cemetery, the maintenance worker at the cemetery become available. we transferred up there, and we just placed them where we needed to.
Because, I mean, that's a lot better in Christiansburg right now than Bradford right now. I mean, I was looking at the workers the other day, I feel sorry for them. Picking out those big trash cans and everything else with trash in it.
I guess one small concern, and maybe it's a bigger concern I'll throw out, is we do use our equipment operators to push snow. And the fewer equipment operators and truck drivers that we have, potentially the less we might have available for snow removal.
Yeah, we're gonna reassess that really soon too. Based on my vacancies right now, I'm reassessing everything. And we'll be working with Randy to kind of propose some operational changes, just so we're covering what we need to cover.
So like if I have a CDL, do I get a $25 bonus? You know, if I were one of your employees and I went and got my CDL, do I get, you like pay for me to get it, or do I get a bonus
We
for?
put them through the training. We provide the training, provide the vehicle. It's pretty rigorous,
No,
thing,
A
but
large savings.
that's why, if we hadn't implemented, what was it, 4 or 5 years ago?
Yeah.
For making that mandatory, we'd have been in a bind last year with CDL drivers.
But doesn't didn't you
have-
lose a whole bunch of employees after they learned how, or whatever?
Yeah, I've lost some.
Because, I mean, that's a big, once you get that CDL or whatever.
If you already have it, we can hire you in at a higher rate.
Oh, yeah, if you already have it,
Do we, does our, if we pay for you to get your CDL, we put you through it, we don't have a stipulation that you have to work 12 months?
12 months,
Okay,
or it's a prorated return. Yeah, I learned my lesson after 2 did it.
okay. Shoot, I put a
Yeah, I
policy
mean,
in
it's
place.
things you gotta put in place, because I did, I got burnt twice. Once, bringing them through.
Yeah, I've paid for kids to get their master's degree in, business-wise, and it's like, no, you owe me X number of years, or you're paying back prorated amount of,
Yeah, you're invested in them.
yeah, I want X number of years from you.
That's what I'm doing with my kids.
Got them under contract?
Mike, yes, I got one in college.
Yeah, I paid my first tech tuition for my daughter this week.
Congratulations.
And it's still stinging. It still hurts.
That's why my kids are working.
Aaron, what's my return on investment here?
They can
All right,
run
thanks.
stores and then do everything else.
Other things I'll bring up for
Okay.
updates, if we're done with garbage and recycling.
Yes.
Johanna had asked for update on Hickok Street, and I think, asked Mike to give you a briefing.
My knowledge of Hickok Street is somewhat limited. I believe we're about 80% designed on that. And right now, we're still working with a few of the downtown property owners for easements, on easement acquisition. And sometimes it's not necessarily easy to get them to return your phone calls and respond to you. So, outside of that, Andrew?
I think, yeah, it's just a matter of plugging away. And
Yeah, it's a matter of just
ensuring that, I think it's not just getting the easements, but also assuring that access is maintained for businesses all during the project. And so.
Plus, we would have the streets blocked.
Right, exactly, we would have the streets blocked during construction, so we have to maintain access to all those areas down there, and that's one of the pieces we're trying to solve right now, is access through a particular property.
Do those easements that we're doing through the town, are they protecting us from all of that? Because I know, as a person that went through this process in the past, we lost a lot of revenue. We had tenants upstairs of our property, San Francisco Street, that left because the work was being done at night and everything else. I mean, there was a lot of problems we had as, business owners downtown and people that used to rent to, apartments.
I don't have that immediate answer. I have to look at how the easements have been appraised, because I believe we've got a third-party consultant that's doing the right-of-way and easement acquisition. So I don't exactly know what the matrix is, or the calculus is for what they're doing, but in this area, the easements are sometimes it's for third-party utilities. It's not necessarily for the drainage structures themselves. So, I have to get back to you on what the calculus is, but
Is that a quick answer that you can give me as far as why are we paying for this easement to be, done over there? And we are actually, this will be benefiting all of these business owners later on.
Are we paying for the easements there? Well, some of the easements are, like I said, not for the infrastructure themselves. You're encumbering the property, with, I believe it's AEP easements as well. There's electric line easements to move this stuff out of the way so we can physically move this archaic pipe and put it into the town's right of way.
Is AEP not able to reimburse us for some of this
No,
money?
they have easements already. That's not how that works. If they have an easement on private property and you want them to move, you have to pay them to move.
Is this gonna affect, when do you think it's gonna be the starting point for this project?
You know,
Do
that's,
we have any idea?
I do not at this point because the property acquisition easements are still ongoing. And it's been a challenge, so.
Now, what do you think is gonna happen with, the ARC grants and things like that, if we take any longer? Is that an, expiration day on that?
There is, I can tell you,
We're still well within it. I'd written that, we had responded to that question. I'd have to pull that up, a month or two ago when you had a number of questions on that. And so I just need to, but I think we're within our window still, and we'll.
Can you
we'll
give me
continue to
some
work this
time
way.
frame on that?
Sure, yeah, I'll look up what we provided to you.
Because we wanna make sure that, we don't wanna, if we had that grant and if we're gonna lose it, we need to know what's going on, Okay.
Right, I don't have the exact time frame. I know we're still within our.
I do have one.
Within our good time, because we are trying to dovetail both those projects so that they work with one another. And the state is well aware of that, Appalachian Regional Commission is well aware of that, and that is why they awarded the project to us, is because we had such a good matching grant. I mean, that was one of the factors, with the, with the drainage project.
Now, I know another question about something else, the water authority, when they lost the pump or whatever that was the other day that went out, how many days was it out for, or what the hours, and how does the town have to pay anything like?
The pumps were down basically Friday night. Saturday, they got most of them operational. By Sunday, they had, well, actually by Monday, they had all of them operational. They're operating at full capacity now.
So what are the implications when something like that happens, like preparing for the future? Because I didn't see anything like on our Facebook page or anywhere else saying that we had to boil water or.
Well, there was no need to boil water, and we discussed putting out conservation, but.
We were prepared Saturday, we were gonna put something out, but basically, that early Saturday morning, they had gotten all, the majority of the pumps working.
Yeah, they
We
were,
were gonna put out a press release Saturday morning, but.
Because we were made aware
We
at
didn't need to.
8 o'clock, 9 o'clock that evening, something like that.
yeah, it was about 9:30.
Yeah.
So they got their low efficiency pumps, a few of them running late Friday, early Saturday morning in the AMs, and then got a few others, and our system maintained over the weekend. And then they brought their high efficiency pumps online on Monday when they had all their full staff and electricians there.
They have some storage tanks themselves, and our tanks are capable, well, generally hold about if they're full, they're about 3 days capacity for the town.
So it was a little concerning. I watched the SCADA quite a bit,
Yeah.
that weekend, and me and Randy talked quite a bit too. But if we'd have put something out too that said conserve water, you might create a panic and everybody runs water, so.
But you want
Yeah,
to
'cause I'm
know.
gonna fill my tub.
Naturally.
And we wanna know, I wanna know this in this group, as far as like, what are the steps if something like that was out for several more days? Like, what?
We put out a press release, all honesty, we probably wanna bring the state into the situation,
Mhm.
because, we would need trucks probably brought in to bring water in to serve the community.
So the pumps require you to have water, is not that the pumps are there, the pumps that went out is not to clean the water, it was to pump the water,
To fill our tank.
to fill it.
The whole region's tank, Blacksburg, Montgomery County.
we do have, I guess, access potable to a couple of springs in town, that if we try to allow those for, potable water potentially. Like I say, we probably want to bring the state in as well.
Oh, if something like that happened and occurred, yeah, we'd
That would be
definitely.
drastic, yeah.
So how does the water authority deal with this as far as like for the future, just to make sure that we are prepared for something like this? Are they buying more pumps? What's the,
I think that's part of their upgrade, because what went down, I think, was the control panel before it hadn't been upgraded yet, so it was kind of antiquated. From what Caleb had shared with me, he's gotten more parts for his control cabinets that are antiquated right now until they are updated through the upgrade at the plant. So, as everything gets age on it, you start losing that availability to get the parts for it. Him and his staff has pretty much put things in place now to have redundant parts for their pumps and their control panel.
They actually had two control panels previously. They had an old control
Mhm.
panel, and then the old control panel that was being upgraded.
and I guess the other question I had was, give me an update about the sewer, not the sewer, but the sewer plant, the waste sewer plant, as far as the motor, the drill thing that goes like this. What is it called, the one that?
Screw pump?
The
I always
centrifuge.
forget.
The centrifuge.
Weren't we talking about needing
Yeah.
a new centrifuge?
Yeah,
The one that picks up all the big trash. That's not
That could
called
be
the
the-
centrifuge.
No, that's
The one that
the
was
flight.
broken that one time.
That's the screw pump.
Yeah.
The screw pump, yeah, that one.
So, at the wastewater treatment facility, we are actually applying for state revolving fund money to proceed with the centrifuge project, the potable water, line project, to bring that to the plant, and, electrical upgrades and, outside lighting upgrades. They've actually got the application prepared and getting ready to submit it.
Yeah, I think
This
they
weekend.
submitted the signature. I think I saw that today.
Yeah.
So.
So that's moving forward.
Are those screw pumps really expensive?
Everything there.
No, I know, but what's the price range about for a screw pump?
To replace both of those screw pumps, I would think you're probably $4 to $5 million.
Yeah, 6,
Yeah.
5, 6.
Just the pump thing, not the pump, but
Well,
the
if you
whole
can't
thing?
just replace that part, you have to
The
do
house,
the whole.
everything wears
Yeah.
over time.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I say, everything there is expensive.
Plant work is expensive.
Mhm.
Maintenance is expensive, upgrades are expensive, but it's necessary. I mean, we have to.
No, I know, but I'm just saying, as a preventive thing, what I want to make sure that we have is some of those necessity things that if something goes out, do we have something else to replace it with? In the rental right now, or whatever, we are keeping, because everything is a shortage. Even paint, food, salt, paint will be a thing to have a problem with right now. But because we're having so much shortage and so much stuff, we're piling up on things that we typically wouldn't use, for at least a year sometimes or whatever, but we're really piling up in a lot of things, blinds and even light bulbs, some of the special light bulbs.
Conserve water thing. The
Well,
shortage
I
of
think we
by
should
water.
all be concerned about, mostly when you're running a town of the amount of population we have in the town. How can we, and that's part of your sustainability thing too. Maybe I want numbers as far as like, what are things that can be preventive, that we can buy today, or we can buy in the near future to make your life better, in case something went out.
Well,
We have a certain level of redundancy
Yeah, I
at the
know.
plant and at the
Roofs and stuff like
facilities.
that, but I wanna make sure like some of the big equipment that's needed, like the garbage truck is a big item to me, but it's not a big item when I see things. We have money in the budget for
yeah,
that.
keep in mind though, when you're talking about large pumps and that type of equipment, you don't necessarily, In a perfect world, you'd have one sitting on the shelf ready to go, but when you buy a piece of equipment like that, that has warranty, it has seals in it, and, you know, things start to dry out, things start to age, and it's not good for the equipment just to sit idle. So there's a balance between what you have on the shelf and what you have built redundancies for in your plant that run, you alternate running them. So if one goes down, you still got one, and then you're replacing and repairing and doing what you need to get the other one back up.
Well, I had no clue that it was $6 million, but, you know, like, all I'm saying is that if we have small items that will make a big difference in the long term, I wanna make sure that you come to us or just come to town council straight, you know, saying, hey, we need this item, you know? And it doesn't have to be today, it can be tomorrow. And say, hey, we need this, just to be prepared. I mean, you were talking about it was gonna take 8 months to have one of the pieces of equipment to repair that thing or whatever, I think. Is that what you said? Something like that, but anyhow, it was gonna take a long time to get some of the equipment. And so if that's the plan, we, you know, like the pumping at the water treatment, that was, you know, concerning.
Oh, definitely.
They have at least 6 pumps at the water treatment.
So it wasn't a pump, it was a panel.
Yes,
The control panels, they controlled the
The
pump.
pump didn't fail, the
Yeah.
panel
I
failed.
think that caused the pumps to lock up.
Yeah, okay.
When the panel stopped working.
I'll just feel free to come over here and ask us or whatever, we'll go and take the beating, right?
Give you maybe-
Team can do it, team can do it.
Give you one other update.
He's the stability guy.
Consent order for sewer.
Yeah, you know, we got the proposed consent order from DEQ, and, we've met with our consultant a couple of times, and they have formulated lack of a better term, a strategy, if you will, and DEQ is very busy right now, so we're trying to now set up a meeting with them. We have a set agenda we'd like to discuss with them. We'd like to discuss specific components of the consent order with them. And because honestly, there's some of the overflows that we had, we're not seeing overflows in those areas because we spent $2 million on sewer projects that have solved those problems. So there are some conversations we need to have with DEQ, and we're now working on finalizing our agenda with them and setting up a meeting to get down to brass tacks and work this thing out with them. The meeting's probably in the next 4 or 6 weeks, maybe, but it's up to, you know, we have to coordinate with their schedules to get in front of them, so.
Will that happen in town hall? Like here?
That will happen in DEQ's office in Salem.
Where's that?
Salem. Yeah, we've got to go to them.
That's good. Is there office day?
I've
Have
never
you
been
ever
there,
been?
I have not been there. I did not know. That's
But
good.
we work with them quite often, don't we?
DEQ? Oh,
Oh, they
quite a
do.
bit of it.
Yeah.
But they come to us for that, right?
Not always.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a give and take.
Yeah.
Over the last 2 years, we haven't seen them a lot.
Not bad.
No.
And they are slow, you know, list of, I guess, overflows that they had, you know, they were going back several years,
Yes,
obviously. So-
yes. And,
And
you know,
we do self-report those, so,
we-
you know, they get those lists from us, so.
the town does exactly what they're supposed to do. They report the overflows, that are a certain volume, and, you know, the College Street, the sewer project right there by the rec center, that eliminated a bunch of them. And the work that we did out on Tower Road here recently, there was a sewer line in the creek down there that we, relocated, moved out of the creek, raised it up and got it out of the way. And I think we've had maybe 1 overflow since then.
It wasn't of no magnitude. Though.
And we were having an overflow, and pardon the expression, every time we got a heavy dew, we would have an overflow out there. And, every time it sprinkled, we'd get an overflow. But that project, we replaced, what was it, 200, 300 feet of sewer line? And, that that made a huge difference on that lift station out there, so. We've done things to stop the overflows, but don't know that we got credit for them.
They were the ones that, wasn't that the application we got, awarded years ago for the work on Depot Park? No? On the creek? Or was it with another?
That was DEQ, but it's a stream bank stabilization grant.
When do those, when can we apply for that again?
Can apply really, whenever we have projects potentially.
Well,
I mean, because you haven't finished the depot, the creek, it still has got a lot of work to do,
Well,
doesn't it?
we are currently, right now, in the industrial park, we have a project that's going to be starting this fall, I believe, that will improve the channel and make improvements to the town's retention pond out there. So we do have a stream restoration, channel restoration project that is ongoing right now out there.
Is that one that they pay once a year, or is that something that we can only apply? Is there
No,
some requirements for that?
we received, help me here, $350,000 in a SLAF, grant for that. But I think we had to have a matching part of it, but.
One of the local assistance funds.
Right.
Because I would like to
But I
see
think,
more.
I mean, if there were other projects that were identified, we could.
Absolutely, yeah, right.
Fortunately, the industrial park is necessary, needed, but it's not as visible or, as rewarding as like Depot Park, because, it's just, in the middle of town.
That's really nice. But I noticed when you're going right there by the BP gas station on the right where the creek is, you see all that overgrown and everything else, that's part of the creek too. It would be nice to have that, that view. Because you can see Depot Park from there. When you're driving by off of North Franklin Street, to even apply for the rest of that to be done.
We'd have to go in and take a look at it. Is that an area where we've got significant erosion, or is that something, well, we
I
can,
know,
we
but
can,
I have
we can
seen
look at it.
several tents over there, and I think homeless people living there.
I've seen that.
Have that, it's fairly common along the Huckleberry Trail, so fairly.
Really? I've seen that quite a bit. Now, one more question, it has probably nothing to do, is there any restrictions as far as like, people able to use the creek for, what would that be called? Well, not really swimming, because it's not deep enough, but as a recreational area, there is no restrictions in the town, right?
It's a sediment impairment for the town, sediment. Some places, small area, E. coli. But, other than the stream maybe being on somebody's private property, the town doesn't necessarily own the stream. So I think there's a restriction in the fact that it crosses people's private property, and you just don't have free access to that.
And there's probably certain vegetation that we want trampled during a certain
Right.
time, but the stream restoration project at Depot Park was really designed so that people could get down to the.
Yeah, in the area down there at the park, yeah.
Because I know I was reading some of the posts, I posted a picture, my daughter loves putting her feet in the water. And so, with her friends and everything, that's the thing to do, but I know when I posted a post on Facebook the other day, some people were saying that it used to be the swimming pond in the past, many years ago. So, but it looked really rough back then. But, they were making really good comments about how beautiful it looks today.
I used to have a wastewater treatment plant here where the state park is back, I guess in the sixties and seventies.
I hope they weren't putting their feet in that pond.
I'm sure that has more stuff, but I think we have adjourned. Thank you so much, guys, for your time today and everything else.